Hi folks, this is Karim Raouf at Visualizer channel. We will continue our lab, the Terminator lab. This is the video number 16. We have been discussing in the previous video the following. We have automated the creation of a new virtual machine using the Packer HashiCorp software. This is a software that is used in automating in automation process, especially automation of creation of virtual machines on different hypervisors or different software that are used to create virtual machines and virtual networks like Hyper-V, like vSphere, like VM Workstation Pro, like VirtualBox. Anyway, so this is used to automate the creation of virtual machines, and even also it is used to automate the installation of operating systems on the virtual machines, and also it can be used in automating the installation of some software on these operating systems installed on the virtual machines. So it is a complete, or it is a bundle or a package used to automate different aspects of virtual machines and software and operating system. Anyway, so we are using it in this lab to create a lot of things. We have created all of our virtual machines and automate the creation of them and the installation of the operating systems and the installation of some software. All of this is used using the Packer HashiCorp. Okay, so we are in the previous video used the Packer HashiCorp to create a third, or I think fourth virtual machine, and we have Windows Server 2022 data center installed on it, and we have added an additional network card and an additional hard disk, okay, for this virtual machine. And basically we have two network cards to make teaming between them, and we have said before that teaming of two network cards, or why we have two network cards on a server or on a virtual machine and make teaming between them to enhance the transfer and sending of data from and to this virtual machine. This is a very good thing, and to have a backup plan or to have a redundancy. So making network teaming makes redundancy for the network card. If one of them is not working, the other will work. Okay, so we have done this in the virtual machine. All of this is done, or most of it is done automatically using the Packer HashiCorp, and we make teaming between the two network cards by a script, and then we set the IP address and DNS server and gateway, and change the server name, and enable remote desktop, and disable IE enhanced security setting. All of this is done using one script. Okay, so we have a script to make network teaming between the two network cards, and another script to do all what I have said before. And then we joined this virtual machine to the domain, and then we are preparing it to host or to migrate to it our old DHCP server and our old WSOS and our old file server. All of these are currently hosted on a virtual machine that has Windows Server 2012 R2 installed on it. So we will migrate all of these roles to the new virtual machine that we have created in the previous video, which have Windows Server 2022 data center installed on it. So we will begin with the DHCP. We need to migrate the DHCP. If we go and see here, we need to migrate DHCP from this server, which has Windows Server 2012 R2 installed on it, to this new server that we have already created in the previous video. And here you go, we'll begin with the first one, the DHCP, and then we will follow up by the WSOS from here to there, and we will have the file server from here to there. And in the future videos we will install Windows Deployment Service or server and Microsoft Deployment Toolkit on this server. Okay, this is the IP address of the server, 192.168.1.15. This is the old server, 192.168.1.7. So how we will do the migration? We will do the migration using a script. Okay, so let's see the script and discuss it. Okay, first of all, this script is to export and then import DHCP server and demote all the DHCP server. So we are using this script to export the configuration of the old DHCP server and import it on our new virtual machine, which has Windows Server Data Center 2022 installed on it. Okay, and after that we need to demote or remove the old DHCP server. So we will export the configuration and then create a new DHCP server on our new virtual machine, and then import this configuration to this new DHCP server on our new virtual machine, and then demote the old DHCP server from our old virtual machine or from our old server. If we go there and see, so what the process will do, we will copy the configuration or export the configuration of this DHCP server on this server, and then we will copy this configuration to the new server, and then install the DHCP service on the new server, and then import the configuration that we have taken from the old server, and then we will completely remove the DHCP role from the old server. Okay, so all of this will done using one script. So let's see the lines, or discuss the lines that we are doing. We will run this script from the new virtual machine. So I will open a remote session, or we will open a PowerShell session, and I will run this script from it. So we will run it from the new virtual machine. So the first line says new PS session, computer name SKNHQDC0212, enter PS session. So this is the name of the old server that contains the old DHCP. We are currently, by this line, saying that we need to make a remote PowerShell session on this machine. Okay, so this is like you are making a remote desktop connection to the server, but actually we are making a remote PowerShell session, not a remote desktop session. The same concept, but in the remote PowerShell session, we are only seeing screen, or we can only communicate using commands, or we can deal with the virtual machine or the server that we are remoting to using commands. Okay, we cannot use a graphical interface. Anyways, you are making a PS or a remote PowerShell session to the old DHCP server, and then we will sleep, or we will wait for 20 seconds, and then we will begin creating two folders. These two folders is to export the old DHCP configuration, and so we are making two folders, one called D, or on the D partition on the old server. This folder, or we will create on the old server in its D partition a folder named DHCP. This folder we will export the DHCP configuration to, and we will create another folder called backup. This backup folder, or this backup this backup folder, this will back up the configuration of the DHCP server. So this is, we will create it, we will not use it now. Okay, so we will create two folders, one to export the DHCP configuration to, and the other we will talk about its function later. Anyway, so we'll create two folders on the remote or on the old DHCP server. Okay, these are the two lines. Then we will begin exporting the DHCP configuration to an XML file. Okay, and we are identifying that the DHCP server, its name is sknhqdc0212.skynet.internet. This is the full domain name of the DHCP server. So I'm telling you to export the configuration to an XML file, include the lease or the IP leases on this DHCP server, and to force, force the exporting of this configuration, and to overwrite, if the folder contains an old configuration, it will overwrite the old configuration if you have already exported before the DHCP configuration, but this is only created now, so we don't have an old configuration. So this is the line, and verbose here, it is saying it will display what is happening exactly when we are using this command. It will mix like a log or something. It will give you details about what this PowerShell command is doing. So we have exported the configuration of the old DHCP server. Now we need to copy this configuration. We will copy these two folders. So DHCP folder, in it there is a subfolder called backup. So these two folders, one is a main folder and the other is a subfolder. We will copy these two folders, okay, or we copy these two, or we copy this main folder and subfolder from the old DHCP server to the new DHCP server on its local D partition. So what we have done, we have created two folders. One is a main folder and the other is a subfolder. the configuration of the old DHCP is already, or it's currently on this folder, then we have copied all of the folder to the new DHCP server, or what will be the DHCP server. So using the robocopy, okay, so this is the line of robocopy, or line 11. And then we will exit the remote PowerShell session. So we have already exported the configuration, done what we need, so we can now close the remote PowerShell session to the old DHCP server. Okay, now the configuration of the old DHCP server is on the new DHCP server, so we need to install, or these 3 lines, or these 2 lines exactly, will install the DHCP server role feature on the new virtual machine. And this is the first line, install the Windows feature DHCP, and then the second line, it will add the security groups, or it will create the security groups related to this Windows feature, or the DHCP feature. There is some security groups that will be used in the Active Directory to manage the DHCP. So it will create security groups and put them in the Active Directory so we can manage the DHCP. Okay, and at the end we will restart the DHCP server. So we need, after installing the DHCP feature and adding the security groups, we need to restart the DHCP server service, so this configuration will be valid and working. Okay, so now we have installed the DHCP feature on the new virtual machine. Now we need to import the configuration that we have already copied from the old server. It is in the DHCP. This is the exported old DHCP configuration file, and the backup path, it's the DHCP backup. So when you are importing a configuration, what this command will do, it will import the configuration to the new DHCP server, and it will take a backup of the current DHCP configuration. Anyway, we didn't do any configuration yet on our new DHCP server. Okay, we didn't do anything, so this is why I have created the backup folder from the first place. Okay, so now we are importing the configuration, including the leases, or the IP lease. Okay, and scope override. If there is any scope or IP scope in the new DHCP server, it will overwrite it with what is included in the configuration file. Okay, we don't have anything configured yet. And then this is the computer name, the full computer name of the new DHCP server: Skynet, or sknhqmf01.skynet.internal, and verbose, it will display exactly what is, or what this PowerShell command is doing. And then we need to restart the DHCP server so the configuration will be valid and working. Okay, this is it. And line number 22, it is authorizing this server to uh, uh, release IPs and give IPs to our workstations and servers in the domain. This is a very critical step, because if you do not authorize this server to be your if you do not authorize this server to give IP addresses to your servers and workstation in the domain, it will not, or the clients will not take from it IP addresses. So you need to make the Active Directory authorize this DHCP server to give IP addresses to the servers and workstation. If another DHCP server is not authorized, the clients will not take from it. Okay, so this is a security measure. Okay, so we have already authorize it, and then there is some registry key. This is only done because after doing or installing the new DHCP, or adding the DHCP server feature on the new server, there is something like a confirmation message appearing. So we are telling him in this DHCP, or I think no, this line, it is telling him that sorry, this is not this is, you are telling him that currently the configuration state, it is working. Okay, or the DHCP server configuration is working. This is why the registry key is added. Okay, so now our new DHCP server is working, the configuration is copied and imported to the new DHCP server. We need to remove the old DHCP server feature from the old DHCP server. Okay, or we need to remove the old DHCP role or feature from the old virtual machine, and stop the DHCP server. So we are removing the feature and stop it completely. So we are stopping our old DHCP server completely, and remove the DHCP feature from the virtual machine. So we need to go another or to re-enter a PowerShell or remote PowerShell session to the same virtual machine that contains the old HTTP server and stop the HTTP service. Okay, we stop it, and then we need to test. So after stopping the old HTTP server, we need to see if our clients will take IP address from the new DHCP server. Okay, we need to make sure of that because now we have stopped the old DHCP. So we need to see if the clients are taking IP address from the new DHCP server. Okay, so after we are confirmed, or we have confirmed that the clients are taking IP address from the new DHCP server, we need to uninstall the features or the DHCP feature from the old server. Okay, the console of the DHCP and the feature of the DHCP. Okay, and after that we can exit our remote PS session or PowerShell session. You can, before exiting the remote PowerShell session, you can restart the server. There is a command. You can tell him to restart computer. This is the name of the computer. Why? Because after removing the DHCP feature from the server, it needs a restart. So you can make a remote restart to the server. Okay, and then after making this restart to the server, now you can exit the PS session, and to confirm that the PowerShell session is already closed and not working, you can tell him get PS sessions or get remote PowerShell sessions. If it's still there, the remove PS session will remove any opened PowerShell sessions. So this is the script, okay, that we will use. As we can see, it will do the whole process of migration. Okay, if you need to do this in a graphical interface way, you will take some time. All of these can be done using one script. We will do it on phases, so we'll begin working with the script phase by phase, or a couple of lines, or we'll implement a couple of lines and then another couple of lines. So at the end we have one PowerShell script that will do the whole DHCP migration process. Okay, so this is my explanation to the script. If we go to Google Brad, so if you need to have more explanation, I have told him, or go to Google Brad and tell him analyze this script and explain it and suggest enhancement. So here I'm giving him my script and telling him to analyze it and explain it and suggest enhancement if there is some enhancements to the script that can be done. So let's see what the Google Brad said. So sure, I can analyze this script and explain it. This script is designed to export DHCP configuration from an old DHCP server, import the configuration to the new DHCP server, and demote the old DHCP server. You can see here that you have something called listen. You can listen to Google Brad explaining it. Okay, if you wait for a couple of seconds.
Sure, I can analyze this script and explain it. The script is designed to export the DHCP configuration from an old DHCP server, import the configuration to a new DHCP server, and demote the old DHCP server. The script begins by creating a remote PowerShell session to the old DHCP server. This allows the script to run commands on the old server. The script then creates two folders on the local server, one for the exported DHCP configuration and one for a backup of the configuration. The next step is to export the DHCP configuration from the old server. The export DHCP server CMD-let is used to export the configuration to a file named DHCP datalink to .xml. The leases parameter is used to include the DHCP leases in the export. The force parameter is used to overwrite any existing file named DHCP datalink to .xml. The next step is to copy the exported configuration to the new DHCP server. The robocopy CMD-let is used to copy the files from the DDHCP folder on the local server to the $DHCP folder on the new server. The E parameter is used to copy all subdirectories. The R10 parameter is used to retry failed copies up to 10 times. The W5 parameter is used to wait 5 seconds between retries. The V parameter is used to verify the copies, and the ETA parameter is used to display an estimated time of arrival for the copy. Once the configuration has been copied to the new server, the remote PowerShell session to the old server is closed. The next step is to install the DHCP role on the new server. The Install Windows feature cmd-let is used to install the DHCP role, and the netch DHCP add security groups command is used to add the necessary security groups. The restart service DHCP server command is then used to restart the DHCP service on the new server. The next step is to import the DHCP configuration from the old server to the new server. The import DHCP server cmd-let is used to import the configuration from the DHCP data link to .xml file. The backup path parameter is used to specify the path to the backup folder. The leases parameter is used to include the DHCP leases in the import. The scope overwrite parameter is used to overwrite any existing scopes on the new server. The force parameter is used to force the import, even if there are errors. Once the configuration has been imported, the DHCP service is restarted on the new server. The next step is to authorize the new DHCP server in Active Directory. The Add DHCP server in DCCMD-let is used to authorize the new server. The Set Item Property CMD-let is then used to set the configuration state of the DHCP role on the new server to 2. This indicates that the DHCP role is active. The next step is to enter a remote PowerShell session to the old DHCP server. The Stop Service DHCP server command is then used to stop the DHCP service on the old server. The next step is to test to see if clients are taking IP addresses from the new DHCP server. Once this has been confirmed, the DHCP role can be removed from the old server. The Uninstall Windows feature RSAT DHCP command is used to uninstall the Remote Server Administration Tools RSAT DHCP feature. The Uninstall Windows feature DHCP remove command is then used to uninstall the DHCP role. The script ends by restarting the old DHCP server and removing the remote PowerShell session to the old server. Here are some enhancements that could be made to the script. The script could be made more modular by breaking it up into separate functions. This would make the script easier to read and maintain. The script could be made more user-friendly by providing prompts for the user to enter the names of the old and new DHCP servers. The script could be made more reliable by adding error handling. This would ensure that the script continues to run even if there are errors. Overall, this is a well-written script that can be used to export and import DHCP configurations and demote old DHCP servers. The script could be enhanced by making it more modular, user-friendly, and reliable.
So we can see here that you can use Google Brad AI to explain the scripts, enhance them, and also to uh, tell it to you in a voice or in a sound or in an audio explanation. So here I've told him to display enhanced script, and then he has some things to do. So we can see the script now, it is more organized. Okay, he is explaining every line in the script. So this is import modules, define variables, the old server, the new server, the backup location, import the DHCP server PowerShell commands. Okay, create a remote PowerShell session to the old server, export the configuration from the old server, copy the exported configuration to the new server, close the remote session to the old server. The same is, but here is making it more organized. Install the DHCP role on the new server, restart the DHCP service on the new server, import the DHCP configuration from the old server to the new server, restart the DHCP service on the new server, authorize the DHCP in the Active Directory to enter a remote session to the old DHCP server, and then stop the DHCP service, and then test to see if the clients are taking IP addresses from the new DHCP server, remove the DHCP server role from the old server, restart the old DHCP server, close the PS session. We can see from here that the script is more modular than the original script, is also user-friendly as it prompts the user to enter the names of the old and new servers. I think here, where is the step that tells him to, oh yes, here you can define the old and the new server in the variables. Okay, so this can be done. Okay, import, let me see here the import section if you go there. Okay, anyway, So this is, he's saying that it is more modular than the original script, is also user-friendly as it prompts the user to enter the names of the old and the new DHCP server. Finally, the script is more reliable and it includes error handling. Where is the error handling here in the script? I didn't see it actually. It didn't give me any error handling here. Okay, it seems to have okay, anyway, so to run this script, save it as .ps1 and then run it from the command line. For example, to run the script on a Windows 10, you should tell him PowerShell-file script.ps1. So we can see here that Google Broad helps us a lot to have or to enhance our script. We can see that we can make it more professional, more casual, or the answer to be more professional, more casual, simpler, longer, shorter. We can tell him to make it more professional. Okay, this will give us a new version of the answer. It will be more professional. So we can see here that he's giving us a more professional answer. We can see it didn't change a lot, but I think he will give it more. The script is more professional because includes a header that identifies the script and its author, use parameters to accept input for the user, handle errors gracefully, writes a log file to track. So I think he has added a line to yes, to write a log. Okay, so you can see here that is already adding a log to include all of the activity that happens from this script. Okay, so this is all also, and we can see here to write the host, the DHCP configuration has completed successfully. So this is a more professional script. Here we can see that it contains a lot of enhancement over the old enhancements. So we can see that we can use a lot, or we can use the Google Broad AI to make a lot of things actually. Okay, to our scripts, we can tell him to make it simpler. So this is it. We can see here that this is more simple. Okay, and I think he's add already one simpler. Uses shorter variable names, removes unnecessary comments, combine some of the steps in a shorter blocks of code. Okay, for example, I need to have the answer here, for example, this to be translated to Arabic. I can do this anyway. So this is our script. We will use it in the upcoming video. So this video are only discussing the script in theory. Okay, just a moment. So what we are doing now, we have discussed this script in theoretical, or the theoretical part of it. We have discussed every line, and you can see that Google Brad has already discussed the script line by line. So the upcoming video will begin the migration process of the DHCP server. Hope this video is informative for you all, and thank you all for viewing. Thank you so much.